The Thrivehood podcast is a relevant life roadmap for boys and young men who want to thrive as they mature into manhood. I'll be your host, Tim Williams, and welcome to Thrivehood. All right, let's see. I'm going to find I've got all my notes here. This is a big long list. I don't even know if these guys are going to listen to me. Oh, are we on? Hello? Are we hot? Hello? Hey guys. Hey, welcome aboard to the Thrivehood podcast and another episode with your host, Uncle Tim, as I call myself sometimes. Grab a chair, slide up close, and let's talk about drugs, shall we? Yes, drugs. Oh yeah. Okay, oh yeah. Well, fortunately, we're not going to be talking about drugs in a positive light. I would be remiss if I were to even consider that, right? So anyway, let me say this before I jump into my list. What we're going to be talking about today for a few minutes is a laundry list of issues that will come up in your life if you decide to go down this road of being a drug addict. And this runs across the gamut, across the board, all drugs. So as I go through this list, we're talking about just sort of a collective approach to what possibly can happen to your life if you decide to do drugs. You know, I know cocaine has a certain area that it impacts, certain things it does to you. There's a lot of other types of narcotics out there that, you know, there's a lot of prescription drugs now that are really heavy. You know, a lot of people are heavy into that. Those types of drugs do certain damage to the body. There's, you know, heroin and meth. There's all these other types of drugs that they sort of have specific ways of debilitating a person's life. But what I wanted to do today is we're just going to sort of take all those types of narcotics, drop them in a big old bucket, if you will, and I'm just going to read down a list here of the impact of any one of those drugs or combination of those drugs and what possibly could happen to your life. So listen, if you've thought about trying some of this stuff out, if you are a casual user, or if you are honestly addicted to some level on this, this is for you. I don't know if this makes a difference. I don't know if it's going to help, but if you are somebody that's involved in this, I would love for you to pay attention to this so you can see what your road looks like ahead, what your future is ahead. Maybe another way to say it is what you are going to be looking forward to, if you want to call it that, as you continue going down the drug yellow brick road of drug abuse. And if you know of someone that might be able to benefit from this, if there's somebody that, even if there's just something they hear that scares them, hey, I don't care how this message gets out. It doesn't matter to me how it impacts somebody, whether it scares them or wakes them up or enlightens them or whatever the case may be. Any way that this message can get out, please forward it to somebody. Send it to those maybe that you love that are in need of some assistance. So we'll jump right into that. And in my grubby little hands here, yes, as you can hear the paper, I have my list. I want to go through this, and I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle. Now look, you guys have heard, you've gotten enough PSA messages, your parents, your guardians, your teachers, your pastors, your youth pastors, your coaches, your friends' parents. You've gotten a lot of information coming at you to tell you of how important it is to not get yourself caught up into these habits and into these addictions. But I want to come at you from a closer, how would I say that? I want to come at it from a sort of an angle where has a greater impact, maybe is the best way to say that. So let's start with this. And you're probably going to hear me shuffling papers and I try to normally stay quiet, but I want to read through this, and I don't have the means to post this, so just sort of bear with me with a little bit of the background noise. So let's start off with the first issue and challenge, and there's a number of them here. We're just going to sort of buzz through this, and we'll wrap this up in the end. So let's start off. Well, if you decide to move into the area of being a drug addict, The first thing that you're going to encounter is that you'll probably jeopardize your career. There's a good chance that you will, some way or some form, destroy that on some level. You will also develop various health issues, and we'll sort of dive into some of those in a little bit. There's a good chance that you will have issues with your marriage. You'll probably jeopardize your marriage if you get older and are with a spouse. You'll have a good shot at causing issues there. You'll probably jeopardize the relationship with your kids if you have kids. You'll probably jeopardize relationships with your friends. There's sort of this first wave here, as I'm talking about, is basically relational. There's a good chance that you will destroy most of your relationships. You will begin to move yourself into isolation. Good chance of that. If you decide that you want to move into an area where you might be a personality like a radio DJ or a politician or an athlete or a musician, there's a pretty good chance that you will destroy that hope and that dream by being involved in narcotics. There's a good chance you'll lose your hair. There's a good possibility that you'll have strokes. You'll also be walking around with high body temperature. Wouldn't that be exciting? Think about whenever you're sick and you have a fever, you have the flu. Think about walking around the rest of your life feeling like you got the flu. Think about that. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. I don't know about you, but how about, here's another one, rotting teeth. There's a good chance that you'll forget to brush your teeth, that you'll forget to floss. So of course that will cause gingivitis and all this other stuff. And then just from the narcotics, the drugs alone, it could wreak havoc on your mouth. So that'll be something to look forward to as well. You'll develop abusive tendencies. Actually, not only just to other people, but yourself. We'll dive into a little bit more of what I mean by that in a minute. There's a good chance you could develop heart disease. You could have lung damage. You could damage your liver. Here's one that's exciting. Stomach or intestine decay. That would be fun, right? Let's just decay our stomachs while we're doing this, okay? You will have impaired cognitive function. You will begin losing your ability to just be cognitive of understanding and being able to adapt and even sort of engage in the real world here. There's a good chance you could have widespread brain damage. You'll have attention deficit syndrome. That'll be a real challenge. Obviously, this will lead you into impaired decision making. You won't be able to be as capable of being able to make decisions like you used to. There's a good possibility you'll become financially insolvent as well. You'll start making decisions that, you'll need to have drugs, so every dime that you bring in will be able to be used to support your habit. Good possibility you'll get into legal trouble. Good possibility you'll develop diseases such as HIV and hepatitis. Possibility you'll drop out of high school or college. Possibility you'll lose weight. Possibility that you'll have malnutrition and nutritional deficiencies. You won't be eating, you won't be drinking because your life will be completely consumed with getting the next high or getting the next hit. Obviously, a risk of overdose. Insomnia and sleeplessness is a good possibility. Loss of coordination, putting others in jeopardy. That's a big one, right? We want to think that drug abuse is always about just the person. Well, there's a good chance if you're driving a car and you're out of it and the passenger is with you, you've got somebody with you, there's a possibility you go off the road, you just take another life. So it isn't just you that's being impacted. And that's just one of many examples of how that can impact other people. Difficulty maintaining personal hygiene. That's always something that would be nice to have, is to walk around stinking all the time, right? Increased impulsiveness. Risk-taking behaviors, living on the edge. Oh, it's so exciting. Well, that's what drugs do. It forces you, or I guess I would say it forces you, because you don't have control of it, of making decisions that otherwise you wouldn't do. Depression, anxiety, panic disorders, paranoia, hallucinations, parenting inability. I want to stop here for a second. I've got to say that is one of the most difficult things that I have seen actually in recent years as a result of someone that is drug-induced and is incapable of being a parent. It astonishes me that we have in America a number of parents that are so focused on wanting to destroy their lives And what they don't realize is they're also taking others down with them, as I mentioned earlier, and especially kids. I know of stories, firsthand stories of babies, 3, 4, 5 years old, walking around in the middle of a street in the middle of the night, and their parents are nowhere to be found because of this addiction. So again, we're not just impacting ourselves, we're impacting the world when we're doing this. Nausea, dilation of the pupils, violent behavior. There's a good chance you're going to develop that. Panic attacks, seizures, psychosis, jaw clenching, hot flashes, irritability, headaches. Am I done? No, because I'm turning my paper to the next page. We're continuing this. Here's one, guys, that, especially for us, this ought to raise your eyebrows. Sexual problems. It sure will. It will have an impact on your body in a way that you probably wouldn't want otherwise. You'll have the loss of smell. You'll have nosebleeds. You'll have trouble swallowing. You'll have loss of memory or confusion. Like I said, you'll have loss of memory or confusion. I'm sorry, that was a little joke there if you got it. If you didn't, we'll move on. Decreased motor skills, problems walking. Alzheimer's disease is a possibility. Decreased muscle coordination, erratic mood swings, stunted brain growth, right? Who wants that? Who in the world wants that in their life? Schizophrenia, basically mental illness, and that covers a wide range of challenges that we can face when we get into this. Now, I want to slow down here. I want to read these next 3 or 4 as it relates to meth and heroin and crack, cocaine. Check these statistics out. The life expectancy of a meth addict is approximately 40 years. The life expectancy of a heroin addict is 37 years. And the life expectancy of a coke addict is 44 years. So, bud, take a dice. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. Roll the dice. You can pick any one of those 3. You're not going to win no matter what you do there. And here are 2 other pieces of information as it relates to cocaine. 6 lines of coke every day translates into over 33 hours of life lost. Think about that. Just 1 line of coke can cost a cocaine addict over 5 years of life. So when people talk about, hey, I'm not going to be here long anyway, I'll just take my life, it doesn't matter. They're actually speaking correctly, because you can take almost half of your life away simply by doing these things. Unable to work, can't earn a living, so you don't have any money. So guess what the next challenge is? You resort to crime, right? Because you have got to figure out a way to get your next high. So you rely on stealing, cheating somebody, doing whatever you can. You have a weakened immune system, so now you're opening up to infection. You're opening up your body to infection. Here's one, guys, that I don't know you really would want. Breast development in men and boys. Think about that for a second. Is that really what you want? I sure don't, that's for sure. Loss of self-control, reckless driving, which again puts other people at risk. Dry mouth, difficulty keeping track of time. If you're shooting up, if you do that sort of thing, it can cause your veins to collapse, right? You can begin losing elasticity in your veins, and obviously that's why you see a lot of those drug addicts. They have prick marks all over their arms because they're running out of veins. They start moving to their legs and everywhere else. Confusion, fluid retention, tremors. You actually will eventually move into an area of probably getting some type of incarceration, maybe arrest, jail, possibly even prison, because you might move into being a dealer because you can see you can make more money and support your habit. That's a possibility. Homelessness, convulsions, hearing loss. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Bone marrow damage. You obviously have a good chance of distorting your vision, having blackouts, elevated heart rate, damage to your reputation, to your credibility, and to your integrity. No question about it. Incoherent speech, driving accidents, reduced pain, which can lead to serious injury. Think about it. If you aren't able to feel that you've cut yourself, or you hit something, or you've broken your leg and you can't even feel it, that's going to lead to other challenges if you don't get those wounds healed properly and taken care of. Flashbacks, Also, this will develop into such things as cancer of the lungs, the throat, the mouth, amnesia. You'll have chronic bronchitis is a good possibility. I think I said it earlier, but decreased testosterone levels for us guys, that's something we don't want, right? Your nasal passages and nose will be damaged if you're a snorter over time. Labored breathing, damage to nerve endings, kidney failure. You can have hemorrhaging. There's a possibility of coma. And something called the catatonic syndrome, which is more recent. This is really a group of symptoms that relate to such thing as lack of movement, lack of communication, aggression, confusion, and restlessness. All of these things could eventually take over your life. And then finally, death. Now, I had a little fun with that, and I wanted to have a little fun with it because it's pretty serious. But I'm definitely not having fun and not having a fun time of thinking about people out there, maybe someone listening to this, that is dealing with some of these very issues themselves. And while I can't force you to change, no one can force you to change, can I just plead with you and say, get some help? Can I plead with you and say, find someone somewhere? There are a number of facilities around major metropolitan areas across the United States and around the world. The internet is a great resource for that. There are a number of churches, there are synagogues, there are, again, if you're not a church-going kind of person, find somebody. Get real with your parents or your guardians. Find a teacher. Talk to your older brother. Find a coach or guys. Start somewhere. Reach out and find somebody. If you are not involved in drugs and you're not allowing this to be a part of your life, congratulations. Thrivehood, let me wrap this up in this way. Thrivehood has everything to do with minimizing the risks in your life as you move to the next stage of life. So if you want to minimize as many challenges as you are going to be facing as you move through life, here is another example of what not to do in order for you to boldly move into the next phase of your life. I can't tell you, I can't stress to you enough. There will be challenges. Some of you listening to this, you already got challenges. You're coming from a dysfunctional home. You're coming from a situation that there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of drama. You sort of got a challenge ahead of you. I think with all hope and with all possibility that you can rise through that. You can come out of that. I completely believe that. There are some of you that maybe you're a little better off. There's some of you that really have got a good family life. It doesn't matter what your background is. This is one area that I can absolutely guarantee you, if you will not move into this area, you will have a better shot at moving into a better, healthier, fuller life in the future. I can just guarantee that. I didn't say that you will have the best life. I'm saying I can guarantee that it can be better if you don't do this stuff. Guys, it's math, right? You don't do this. You don't deal with all this stuff. It gives you time to focus and put your attention on other things and other challenges that are going to be coming into your life. And you need that stamina, that strength, that power, that ability to be able to manage life as it comes at you without all of these other distractions and all this other baggage that we could bring along if we really wanted to. So I hope that helps. Again, share this with somebody if you think it would be helpful. If you needed to hear this, listen to it again. And I'm telling you, I hope and I pray that what I'm doing here is making some type of difference. That is my heart. That is my desire. And until next time, gentlemen, stay strong.